All right, today we're going to tackle a really big one, something that's absolutely critical for anyone working in the cloud: AWS security and compliance. Let's dive in and pull back the curtain. The cloud gives us this incredible, almost infinite power to build whatever we can imagine. But, and it's a big but, with all that power comes a massive responsibility. So, how on earth do you keep everything safe in this huge digital universe? Now, you might think the answer is some fancy firewall or a complex piece of software, but actually, before we even get to the tools, we have to start with the ground rules. Security on AWS isn't just about tech. It's really about a partnership that's built on one core idea. And that idea is the AWS shared responsibility model. Seriously, this is the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. It's a simple framework that spells out exactly what AWS is responsible for and, just as importantly, what you are responsible for. Getting this right is step one. This breaks it down perfectly. Think of it like this. AWS handles the security of the cloud. They're like the landlord of a super secure apartment building. They take care of the physical building, the guards at the door, the concrete, the wiring. Your job is the security in the cloud. You are responsible for locking your own apartment door. You decide who gets a key using IAM. A classic example we see all the time is with an S3 bucket. AWS makes sure the S3 service itself is secure, but if you accidentally make your bucket public to the whole world, well, that's on you. You have to protect what's inside. So, now that we're clear on what our job is, let's open up the toolbox AWS gives us to get it done. And we're going to start with the most valuable thing you have: your data. We all know we need to encrypt our data, right? It's Security 101. Scramble it up so nobody can read it. But here's the catch. That encryption is totally worthless if the keys are just lying around. It's like having a giant bank vault door but leaving the key in the lock. So the real question becomes, how do you manage all these digital keys? And the answer to that is the AWS Key Management Service, or KMS. This is your secure, managed locksmith in the cloud. It lets you create and control encryption keys without having to worry about the crazy complex hardware and software behind it. And you've got options. You can let AWS manage the keys for you, which is super simple, or you can create your own customer-managed keys for more granular control. And what makes KMS so powerful is that it's not some standalone tool you have to bolt on. It's woven into the fabric of AWS. It integrates with dozens of services like S3 and EBS, so a lot of the time, encrypting your data is as easy as checking a box. This gives you one central place to control the entire life of your keys, from creating them to rotating them to eventually getting rid of them. It's how you enforce the rules of who and what can access your most sensitive data. Okay, so we've locked down our data from the inside out. Now let's switch gears and talk about defending ourselves from threats coming from the outside in. It's time to build up our perimeter defense. Your web application is your front door to the world. It's your storefront on the internet. And, unfortunately, that makes it a huge target for attackers. They're constantly being hit with all sorts of nasty stuff, from common hacks to just overwhelming floods of traffic. So, how do we fight back? Well, your first line of defense is the AWS Web Application Firewall, or WAF. Just think of it as a really, really smart security guard for your website. It sits in front of your application, inspects all the traffic coming in, and filters out the bad stuff, things like SQL injection and cross-site scripting, before it can do any damage. But what if the attack isn't clever? What if it's just a brute force tidal wave of traffic trying to knock you offline? That's a DDoS attack. And for that, you need AWS Shield. It's the perfect partner to WAF. It's always on, automatically spotting and absorbing these massive attacks to make sure your application stays up and running for your actual customers. We've seen some powerful tools for sure, but just having a bunch of tools doesn't mean you're secure. You need a strategy, a plan. You need a blueprint for how to put all these pieces together to build a secure system right from the very beginning. And that blueprint is the security pillar of the AWS well-architected framework. It gives you a clear, proven set of best practices. It starts with a strong identity foundation, using IAM to make sure people only have the exact permissions they need to do their jobs and nothing more. Then you need traceability. You have to be able to see who did what and when, using services like CloudTrail. Next, you apply security at all layers, not just the edge, but everywhere. And finally, you automate everything you possibly can. Automation reduces human error and makes sure your security rules are always enforced. And this really gets to the heart of the matter. The whole point of all this isn't to slow you down or to say no. It's the exact opposite. Good security is about creating a safe environment where your teams can move fast, experiment, and build incredible things, all with the confidence that they're standing on a solid, secure foundation. And that kind of brings us to our final thought. The cloud is always evolving. AWS is automating more and more of these security tasks, which means that line in the shared responsibility model is constantly shifting. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What do you think is the next frontier? What's the next big security challenge that's going to become our primary responsibility in the cloud? Thanks for watching.